You're supposed to be a cameraman.
No, just setting up and had a ripper after about 5 minutes. Couldn't quite believe it, but let's hope it's not a carp, 'cause there's loads of weed out there. Feels like a tench though.
You'd be alright with the gear you got on, I reckon.
You need to put that down and grab the net, man.
Himley Hall, lovely lake. Would you believe it's where the Dudley stud was born? Rob Hall. That's not actually factually true, but it would be funny if it was. We looked online about Himley, and Ty, our media man, the maestro with the camera, he's a lot better tench angler than I am. He come here last year and caught some lovely fish, a bit later in the year than this. So we come down, we followed all the expert advice to go on the dam wall, and it wasn't very good. I'll just leave it there. Whereas today we thought, well, what we need to do is find the weed. I'm under your line. Yeah. So we've come round to the estate side. It's a bit shallower, and there's the weed's already up. And straight away we found the weed. We found some nice clear spots, and subsequently we have found some tench. Ty's had one already. My turn now. I'm doing my best to wipe out his rods, but yeah, we just thought we'd come down and show you how to sort of approach an area as a team. So we're fishing up to a big weed bed either side of it, both fishing a similar distance, similar sort of tactics, but we will chop and change, and by experimenting and trying different things, I'm sure we'll figure out the key to catching more quickly. Now, Ty had his bite on worms, and you'll never guess what I caught this on. So I think Dendrobinas could be the order of the day. This is not a massive tench, but it's my first of the season. I'm sure it won't be the last today. And yeah, get on the worm. Well, Ty showed us the way. Bit of a team effort today, trying to unlock the tench secrets of Himley Hall. It's a lovely day ticket water in the Midlands. If you've not been, definitely come and check it out. It's one of the best sort of prolific tench venues at the right time. You know, if you can find the fish, the fishing's good. If you can't find the fish, as we found out last week, fishing's pretty dire. But yeah, two little belters. What were we catching on, mate?
Oh, worm kebabs, of course.
Quick stop worm kebab and a heli rig. Just add water, just add tench. Happy days.
Hopefully there's a few more. Oh, yeah.
Definitely. That'd be a bite then. This is a bit more like it. It's spring, and for me that means tench fishing. The old heli rigs. It's a lovely way to fish. You just stick a feeder on the end, put a Korum ready heli kit on the line, fill your feeder full of stuff that tench like eating, and stick a short hook link on. We'll talk about that in a minute actually, because I think it's really important. This whole technique really does need a short hook link, like 4 inches is kind of the maximum you want to go. And as you can see, it really, really works. Another bite, another lovely tench, living the dream. Good fun playing them on these Amigas, Tyrone. I've caught a lot of fish on these, but I haven't had a tench on one yet.
You've had 2 now?
Yeah.
Well, nearly 2.
Nearly 2, 1 and a bit. I'm a very simple man, as anybody who knows me will tell you. And that is about as simple as it gets if you want to catch loads of bream, tench, crucians, whatever you want. It's a really simple rig, just quick stop on a couple of worms, trim the ends off. A little bit of foam or a piece of plastic, corn or something like that, whatever the fishery rules allow you to use, a little piece of cork, little pop up, just something. It's just gonna let that waft down to the bottom and bunch those worms up against the quick stop. It stops them coming off. You want a really short hook link, that's only 4 inches long. And quite often when we're having fishing like this, I'll be using quick stop hair rigs straight out the pack. They're perfect because the line they're tied with is really stiff, it's really strong. They're tied with a Korum around it, which is a mega tench hook. This is a little Korum expert specimen hook, which those of you who've been tench fishing will know is the goat of all tench fishing hooks. Just ask some of the anglers on our books like Gary Knowles, he's caught some massive tench on it, and other great tench anglers like Di Gribble, Phil Spinks and the like, they all love that hook. And for good reason too, it goes in, it absolutely nails them. And you can see it's fished quite a bit away from the feeder. Sometimes I'll move that down and have it closer to the feeder. And the feeder I'm using today is a little winder feeder. Now I might actually switch to an open end feeder so I can get a bit more bait around the hook bait quicker. It does seem the tench are coming in, steaming through the patch, eating all the bait really fast. But this, in this crosswind, just casts like a bullet. It literally, I'm aiming at the big tree in the distance. I'm fishing about 80 yards actually. And I'm hitting the clip easily every time because that's so aerodynamic. That's full of some chopped worm, a little bit of chopped worm. There's no chopped worm in my spod mix, it's only in the feeder. And then I just cap it off with some hemp, casters and some pellets that are really gone soft. So I can just squidge that in there. You see it makes like a little paste. As soon as that gets on the bottom, drives the tench absolutely potty. Let's bung it in, catch a few more. See what the final tally is going to be because it's absolutely gorgeous today and these tench have made my day. We're in again, Ty. Sorry, you're not been able to get your rods out because the tench won't leave me alone. Whoa!
Well, I'm fishing one.
The sun's come out. We think we're going to club them now. There's already one in the net here. Forgot about you. Here we go. Another worm victim. I just swapped that rod actually. That rod was on a couple of fake casters. Took them off. Put the same rig on as the rod that I've had a few bites on. And yeah, big drop back. Boom shakalaka. Boom shakalaka laka. Boom shakalaka laka. Hey, we're into them now. We had a little flurry of activity. Got 2 tench here actually. I'll show you this slightly chunkier one. Catching them all on the worm, quick stop worm. I'll show you how that works because it is an absolutely belting tactic for tench of any size. Let's get fishing. The alarms keep going off. Living the dream here. Love it. Now those of you who follow me on Instagram will know, as Tyrone does, that usually energy drinks and Matt Woods means I've caught a big perch, but I haven't caught a big perch. But I've had a 3 pounder, but it was a tench. So
It's completely different, mate.
well, I can't drink a Carling, can I? So I have to.
Right. Taken a while, put a second tench on. Matt is completely showing me up. I think he's had 7 to my 1. Kick my rod over. It's been pretty slow for me compared to Matt's 7 fish. Just robbed a bit of maggot and caster off him. Literally put 1 spot out. And I've had a bite straight away. You probably see the slick over there. It's ridiculous. bit slow on the uptake, but back on it now. I think this may take one of Matt's rods out. Go on.
Well, Ty, I reckon we figured out the trick.
Yep, had to take out a leaf out of your book, introduce some maggot and caster into the swim. But that's what it is when you're fishing with someone, tag team fishing the area. I started without any naturals, only like hemp and 2mm pellet. You did the complete opposite.
Yeah, you've got to experiment, you know, when you've got 4 rods out, you can try different things. There's going to be rods that catch bigger tench, there's going to be rods that just catch more. And it definitely seems having some naturals in the peg is important. Worm has been the key on the hook, nothing else is getting a bite. Bit of worm in the feeder, not really feeding any worm. Spot on, double takes galore, magic days fishing.
Right, let's get these back.
Be on then. Oh yeah, he's on. Go. Woo! Sat here all day pretty much last week and couldn't get a bite for toffee. Get in that net! Well, this feels a little bit heavier. It might just be weeded up, or it might just be a male tench who thinks he's hard. But yeah, it's just a big drop back that time, not the usual tench screamer. Sun's come out now, wind's got up. Ty's just put a bit of bait in. It had gone a little bit quiet. I think I might join him with a few top-up spoms rather than just relying on the feeder. And yeah, keep it going with a few nice tinkers. Well, I've just had another 2 on the bounce. These fish are really, really beautiful, in fantastic condition. Look at that, spring tension. Love it. Off you go. It's like letting a barbel go. Toodle pip. Boo.
So in our tench fishing and most other people's, generally find the same array of bait. Micro pellet, 2mm pellet's my favourite, hemp, maggot, worm and ground bait. And then my hook bait choice generally maggot early season before the nuisance species pick up, and then after that use worms, always on a worm kebab. It's my favourite thing to catch tench on. And then in the spod mix it's just a combination of them all. Hemp, maggot, caster, micro pellet. I never ever put worm in the spod mix, in the feeder sometimes, but I want my worm hook bait to be the only bait there that they home in on and pick up. And as this venue doesn't allow ground bait, I've been soaking the 2mm pellet. Didn't have any method pellet with me, but this is just as good. Just cover it with water, leave it for a few minutes, dry them off, let them air for 10 and they come nice and spongy, perfect to plug a feeder with.
Ooh, it's nice winding down to a tench like that. They're being crafty now, picking the bait up and then trying to shoot straight into the weed. But little do they know, I've got Korum smoke shield on, which I reckon I could tow my car home with. Barbel line, £10 on the reel. Just because if I do need to go up to like a 90-gram feeder or something, I can just wallop it as hard as I want. I don't have to worry about cracking off or anything. He's not going to win that battle, no matter how hard he thinks he is. So Himley Hall, where we are today, it is a syndicate. It's a carp syndicate, and I think you have to live in Dudley or have had your name on the waiting list for a while to get a ticket. But you can just come down here and book a day ticket. It costs you a couple of quid to park your car, and then 8 quid, I think it is, for a day ticket. 8 quid. Then you can come fish till 9 o'clock at night. Gates open at 7. They shut them at 9. That's a pretty decent day's fishing, if you ask me. And with tench like this, big green beauty, I reckon that's well worth getting in the car and heading to Dudley. Two in the net again, Ty. What's going on? There we go. It's not tench fishing if you're not catching two at a time. If I didn't do any research, it's a bit naughty popping it in the clip when you know there's tench on the end. If I'm fishing far enough out, I can get away with it. And that is another pretty much a double take, one after another. Shortly after introducing a little bit more bait. Got the presentation down now. It's a worm kebab, and then making sure there's a little bright bit of something to just butt up against the back of the worms. And tench very much like a target bait over a baited area, I've found. I mean, I've not done tons of tench fishing, but I have been tench fishing with just about every good tench angler in the UK, and they all pretty much fish the same. A nice big target bait over loads of little bits and bobs seems to be the one for loads of tench. There we go. A ripper, that a ripper. Screamer. Could be a tench, just a double hard one. Yeah, it's a tench. Bloody hell. I've already got two in the net. The Dudley stud was very well known for his online prowess with the ladies. Gosh. It's 3 in there, Ty. Well, every time I cast out, both rods go. There's already 3 in the net. This would be another one. We're right in the middle of the day now. What time is it? Well, it's not even 12 o'clock. Oh my God. And yeah, suffice to say, I think we've found the method. We definitely want worms, but as Tyrone's just found out, he's nicked a bit of caster off me, popped it out over his spot, literally had a bite straight away. So he's just, as you can probably see, landing over there, smashing his spom out, full of my casters and my maggots. A little bit Sonu pellet, a little bit Sonu fish oil, thus the big slick. And yeah, that seems to be the one. Nice bit of oily Sonu hemp in the mix. That's really important for tench. Get some grubbing, keeps them in your swim for ages. Hemp. Mix a little pellet, maggot and caster, and then worm just in the feeder. Not actually feeding any worms, just putting worm in the feeder, worm on the hook, little bit of visual tip, and yeah, it is definitely doing the business. I'm having a really wonderful day's fishing. I'm so glad they made the effort to come out. It's a beautiful day. The Zelos has been very busy. My Amiga's been very busy. And the tench You've been very busy too. Another Himley Hall corker who's beat me up in the weed once again. They do fight well, Tench, don't they? I mean, pound for pound in the spring, you know, other than a carp, there's not really anything else going to pull your arm off like one of these. And I do excuse how many tench are in the net, but we haven't had a chance to sort it out. The fishing has been ridiculous. There's 4 in there. Let's get them back. Well, these tench today have been like the buses. Every time I've put 2 rods out, I've had 2 bites. Good night, Vienna. Tench. You go straight in the weed. Feel massive when you first pick the rod up. Ooh. I'll handball it, Ty. I'll handball it. It's only little.
I got it anyway though.
You can net it for me, look, Gilly.
I don't know if I can net it and film
Woo, look at that. Hey, multitasker.
it. And Matt's into another one.
Found the method today. It's undeniable. These window feeders, I know it's not Korum products from the sister brand Preston Innovations, but when a big crosswind like this, you can just be so accurate. Mint. Love it. Double trouble. Another chunky one. It's a deep one. It's just the odd fish in here, isn't there? It's like a little bit chunkier.
Finally. Another bite.
You had to wait a while for that, haven't you, mate?
You've been showing me right up, mate. I'm just going to have to put... Microphone died, thanks for watching. Unfortunately, the microphones did cut out as soon as we started talking. But as you can see, we had a great day. Once we figured out the tactics, the fish just kept coming. I think we ended on around 20, with most of those falling to Matt's rods. If you're in the local area, go check out Himley Hall. It's a lovely venue, great place to spend the day. Hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.